Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great Monday. As you can see, we're out here with Mother Earth and Father Sky at the Senior Bowl Charity Celebrity Classic. Beautiful Lakewood Golf Club out here. Excited to play today. Had some great interviews last night, some great interaction as well. I mean, Ozzie Newsome, Patrick Willis, Phillip Rivers, got Von Miller coming on. It is a who's who out here. It's such a great event, and it's such a great cause. Had the inductees last night speak as well, Dak Prescott and them, but very excited to be out here. And it's been a great time so far.
It has been a great time so far. The food's been great.
Been great.
Scenery's been great. I got to come back to Point Clear, Alabama, boys.
Well, you know, again, we know Mobile yesterday. Took you to the Bluegill.
Yes, you took me to the Bluegill. First of all.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Second of all.
You changed my life.
You're welcome.
My boy Michael hooked me up with some shades here. Thank you.
Without a doubt, I got mine from Chris, so I'm feeling.
Yeah, these are just mine.
These are just Blains.
Those are just yours?
Those are the matte blacks,
matte
just
blacks,
Blains.
baby.
Here you are, present and accounted for.
Absolutely, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here and ready to go.
Yeah, the math adds up. Well, if you like what you hear, make sure you're subscribing. Booster Club members are already subscribed. I want to start this off by talking about Ole Miss. And legitimately, guys, Mississippi State wins it 2 years ago.
Baseball.
Or last year.
College baseball, yes.
College baseball. You got Ole Miss that wins it this year. The state of Mississippi has claimed college baseball.
Hot right now.
Super hot.
Hot right now.
Well, another thing, too, and a timeline and a storyline is, and Ole Miss fans will agree with me, and I'm not saying everybody was like this, but they wanted to fire Mike Bianco very recently, a guy that's been there, helped build that program, because they weren't getting to Omaha and they weren't doing what they thought they should do when they got to Omaha, and then Mississippi State wins it last year. Now you go from almost being fired halfway through the season to they're probably going to build a statue of you and maybe name the
He's going to get a statue.
You have to get a statue.
Outhouse to the penthouse pretty quick.
That's exactly right. But again, that shows you, and in a lot of sports, but baseball especially, it's timing, who gets hot. We see it in basketball all the time with the NCAA tournament. It's not always the best team, it's the hottest team. And Ole Miss wasn't a huge favorite to win. I had Texas A&M playing Arkansas and Arkansas winning it. Ole Miss was able to go the distance, and it just shows you again, the SEC sent a bunch of teams, but Oklahoma as well. You win it in softball in a dominant fashion the way they did it. You get back to the championship, but Oklahoma never looked right to me coming into this second game. The body language wasn't great early. Oklahoma had been hot. Treadaway, Crooks,
started
all
hot.
those guys started hot. Cone, when you look at this College World Series as a whole, what really kind of stood out to you?
One thing when you talk about Mike Bianco, maybe this will show other schools to be more patient with their head coaches, those schools that are right there on the cusp. But what really stood out is just the SEC dominance. I mean, you look at this, like you were talking about the state of Mississippi, but think about it, the favorite this year, Tennessee, wasn't even in the College World Series.
Right.
They had a legitimate shot to win it. Now you look at kids like Tommy Tanks transferring over, going to go to LSU. I mean, the SEC is just getting hotter and hotter.
They are, and we know it's a hotbed for baseball. Blain, if I would have told you a month ago that Ole Miss would win the national championship in baseball and Tennessee wouldn't make the College World Series, how quickly would you have put me on a boat to Shutter Island?
I would be more surprised about the Ole Miss thing than I am the Tennessee. Because I'm that Tennessee team, and you go back and you look at baseball through the years. I mean, Arkansas was the 1 seed last year.
Yep.
Right, and then the 1 seed curse is a real thing in baseball, and I never believe in Tennessee in clutch moments. The Ole Miss thing, we talked about this yesterday. I wanted to see what the odds were. If we go back before Omaha, what Ole Miss would be. Because even if you're an Ole Miss fan, shout out Mincy, if you put a little bit on that, you made a lot of bang for your buck. But I'm not surprised when the SEC decides to care. I mean, just look at all the teams in Omaha that are SEC. It was SEC dominated.
SEC West.
It's easy. It's
Speaking
easy
about
at
Mincy,
this point.
Mincy was freaking out, wasn't he?
Look,
I would be freaking out too.
Our buddy Barstool Mincy, I saw him on social last night. They had a pretty good time after the game, and I expected him to. Hope he's all right because I know they lived it up. But no, big win for Ole Miss, big win for the program, and now Mississippi State wins it. Then Ole Miss wins it. So you have to say the state of Mississippi has claimed their right to college baseball.
And good for the state of Mississippi. They need wins right now.
You need dubs. The state of Mississippi needs dubs. Seeing what we're doing in the state of Alabama, a lot of national championships to go around. Georgia, it makes sense. Florida's won their fair share. Mississippi, like they said on Borat, one day below break cage, and he get
this. Now you played college baseball, so there was a thinking when I went up to Michigan that the southern schools are always going to possess an advantage because of their ability to practice in the off season, and there's no snow on the ground. I mean, is there credence to that, and are we going to continue to see like southern schools, not just SEC, but is there something to that?
I think it has more of effect on defense because again, there's a lot of indoor hitting facilities. you'll see guys that you have to be in the cage more. So you're seeing live arms sometimes in the cage. You're hitting off the machine, but it's defensively. It's being able to go outside and judge the ball off the bat within the parameters of a ballpark. It's being able to understand how the ball bounces on the dirt, on the turf, whatever you have going out there. So to me, I think it has more of an effect on the pitching and the defense than it does the hitting. Because look, if it's cold out, they're going to get in the cage, turn the heat up, and start swinging the stick because there's really nothing else to do. And you can take ground balls inside the facility, but there's something about being out there on the field, in your position, understanding the depth of where you're supposed to be and how to move, your first step, how to get to things. So, again, I think it's really on the pitching and defensive side where you're going to see the biggest effect that happen. But there is credence.
I guess I shouldn't have said just the South, because you think about California, too. Like some of those schools in California are really
again, we have a friend,
too.
A good buddy of ours who played in Seattle, and he's like, look, man, I mean, we had like 7 D1 schools like in the whole state. So you're having to compete against guys that play in California. You're having to compete against guys, basically over that whole area. And we know California has really good baseball. But the South, to me, is the most dominant in baseball because, again, from Little League on up, from T-ball on up, you're able to travel during the summer. You're able to play year-round. That's the thing, and people really get invested to it. So, South, a lot of time in sports, just is how it is. It's how it worked out. It's where the Klinko balls landed. So, again, I think the South is dominant in college baseball. But I do want to shift gears for a second and tell you, Cone, congrats on the Avs.
Oh, the Avs, yes. Yeah. Stanley Cup champions.
Congrats on the Avs last night. I was so surprised. I thought when Tampa Bay got it back to Tampa, they were going to win this one. And then that Game 7, that experience, understanding that the moment's not too big, having played together for so long, they would end up winning it. But you have to give credit. Lightning scored the first goal. It's a low-scoring game, and the Avs were able, whether it was Darcy Kemper getting saves, whether it was them clogging the middle, whether it was the effort you were seeing on the defensive side, they were catching guys that they were trailing. The Avs took this one. They won this series. They were the best team in hockey.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think they were the best team in hockey for most of the year, at least when we were really tracking it down the stretch, because we thought for a while it might be Avs Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup. But then the Lightning go on, they beat the Maple Leafs, they come back, they beat the Rangers from being down. You're starting to look like, okay, they're back-to-back champions. Maybe they could three-peat, when you're talking about that experience, and they have great players. But I think the Avs were just so dominant that, I'm happy for them. First one in 20 years, maybe something like that. I mean, I think that they have a really great, program that they run and a great team and everything. So it was cool to see, but I don't think the Lightning are going to go anywhere.
No.
The thing about the Avs, they're extremely deep.
Yeah.
Their lines 2, 3, and 4 are extremely good. And you look at the recipe for this game, this was a recipe for a Lightning win.
That's exactly right.
It was a physical game, it was a low-scoring game, and it was at home. If you'd have told me it was a low-scoring game and at the Lightning and they would have lost, I wouldn't have believed you. But great teams can do what?
Win in multiple ways,
especially championship teams. And good for McKinnon.
Yeah,
I'm glad McKinnon got it.
Happy for McKinnon, Makar, the whole
I think
group.
he was MVP. Makar was an MVP.
Makar, I mean, again, you talk about talent. But what's funny to me is you look at the NBA, the Western Conference wins it. The Warriors beat the Celtics. Then you look at hockey, the Western Conference wins it.
It's
the Avs
interesting.
beat the Lightning. Is that just a coincidence or
It's interesting you say that, because I was actually about to say that, looking forward to next season, is that the East, to me right now in hockey, is more competitive. When you look at what the Maple Leafs are trying to do with Austin Matthews, when you look at Shesterkin's going to be in goal for the Rangers for a long time, the Lightning are still going to be good, the Hurricanes are still going to be good, and so on the Western side, the Avs were really dominant, and you look at teams like the Flames, or maybe even the Preds, teams like that, can they sort of get over that hump to be able to challenge what's still going to be a great Avs team?
I mean, would you say the East is more competitive than the NBA?
Well, I think so.
I mean, I don't know though, because the Grizz are in the West, right?
Grizz, Suns,
the Suns are in the
Warriors.
West, but I don't know. The Eastern Conference Finals ended up being.
I think the Eastern Conference is deeper. My question is this: when you get to the pro level, because in high school there's the best team and the worst team, the gap is huge.
Okay.
Even in college, Alabama versus the worst team in Power 5 in Division I, they're going to destroy them. I mean, I'm not even talking about FCS or any of that stuff. I wonder when you get to the pro level, because the difference in talent and ability is a lot closer. The Jags and the Bucks or something like that is a lot closer than Alabama and that last team from a talent standpoint, personnel-wise. So it begs the question: is it a better situation? And I'm just using this as a hypothetical to be in the West, where it's not as deep, you don't get as beat up, and you're able to play freer and you're healthier, as opposed to having to go through the gauntlet, even though it may make you better, may make you stronger, may bring you closer, instead of having to go through the gauntlet of having a deep stacked side of the league.
Are you talking specifically about NHL right now?
I'm talking about just in general, in professional sports, because the more I think about it, I'm from the school of, and maybe that's the college thinking. You know, again, growing up in a state where it's just college sports of, well, I would having a hard schedule and having tests is good because it prepares you for the end when you're playing the elite teams. Mm-hmm. It seems to me that the gap in pros is so much tighter that you just want to get through it and get to the end and let your professionals be professionals.
So it depends on how many tests you have in a row. If I go to the East in the NBA, the East is the brand of basketball in the East and the West to me is so different.
Oh, they're totally
East,
different.
Defense, physical, game in and game out, you're getting beat up. The West, a little more spread out, a little bit higher tempo, a lot more shooting. You stay healthier. You're not on the ground as much. So I would so much rather be in the West and take those couple tests every now and then and succeed than have a test every game in and out and physically get beat up. Because you see it, you get to a certain point. If you get far enough in the playoffs, you get beat up.
That is true, and you look at like the Avs were able to roll over the Preds early in the NHL side of things, 4-0, right? And then then comes into the question, all right, well, is rust or rest going to show up in the second series, which then they ran into the Blues. But at some level too, you're going to just get to a point where everyone's playing good. Even look at the Mavs, right? In the NBA, they thought like, oh well, the Mavs they'll get blown out. They end up making several rounds in the playoffs. So I don't know. There's obviously you'd rather have the easier path. Now I'm starting to think about SEC East, SEC West,
that's exactly where my mind was going.
Big Ten East, Big Ten West. Of course, you always want to play the opponents you think you can beat. But when I was playing at Michigan, they said, look, if you win a Big Ten game by 1 point, that's a great victory. Head back. If you go beat Illinois on the road at night by 1 point, great victory. Head home.
I say it a million times. There's no such thing as an ugly win or a pretty loss. Mm-hmm. There are only pretty wins and ugly losses. I don't care if it's by 1 or by 100. And again, the vibe out here is unbelievable. We got music playing in the background. Not only is it music, it's legitimate.
Are you gonna start dancing?
Classic
Little
music.
Leonard.
We have to make sure.
Leonard.
We have to make sure Blain doesn't pull it out.
That was shirt worthy. What you just said. I hope you know.
Well, what did I say?
Shirt worthy.
There's no such thing as ugly losses and pretty wins.
No, there's no such thing as ugly wins and a pretty loss.
I love that.
Yeah,
we need that on a shirt.
People say, oh, well, it was an ugly win. No, it was a win.
Celebrate all wins.
I take it like if it was war. Like, oh, well, World War II was an ugly win. It was a dub.
That's what I say, too.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you win by, it's that you win.
That reminds me of one that I've said before, which is it's better to have almost lost than almost won. If you almost lost, then you still won.
That's exactly right. Wait, so does that mean almost does count for more than horseshoes?
It's like, oh man, well y'all almost lost.
Don't get
well, you know what? We still won.
No, we didn't. Don't be a philosophizer.
Okay, I won't.
But that's okay. It's a great segue into college football. I do want to ask something. We kind of talked about yesterday a little bit, and you'll be able to see it when we talked to Cornelius Bennett, who was a heck of a defensive player at Alabama himself. But we talk about the Heisman and a defensive player winning it. A couple of the guys we interviewed yesterday legitimately think if Will Anderson has the type year that he had last year, or a little bit better, that he is going to win the Heisman. And I agree, the fact that he wasn't invited, and I know Aiden Hutchinson was a great player. Does he have T-Rex arms? Yes, but he's a great player. But the fact Will Anderson wasn't invited to me, it was sad more than anything. But this guy now with Dallas Turner, with the other guys that could take a little bit of pressure off him as well, that have gotten older, that have gotten better, that have gotten more experience, Will Anderson may freak out this year and just go absolutely dumb.
First of all, I take offense to the T-Rex Aiden Hutchinson comment, and I need a safe space now. And I need you to go sit in timeout.
Yeah. Okay? Guess what? Well, that's your safe space.
2 innings.
Why don't you be safe?
That's true. Figure it out.
Yeah, 2 innings.
2 innings.
Man, I do think that we can see a defensive player win the Heisman. And look, especially, you don't think so?
Stop.
Okay, hold on.
No.
Especially if, take Will Anderson piggybacking off already a good season. I know they're not supposed to take into account what someone did last season. That's not right. But it's harder when someone just comes onto the stage in one season, right, and plays well.
Yep.
He's already a known commodity, had a great season. People are talking about he got robbed. Now if he makes strides and has even a better season than last year, and if we look, Bryce Young won the Heisman last year. I didn't think he even had as good of a season as some of the Alabama quarterbacks before him who didn't win. Like Mac Jones had an unbelievable season, right? Tua had a really great season before he got injured. I think it was his sophomore year. But I think we could see one. It just depends on what happens. What if C.J. Stroud goes dumb at Ohio State?
Dude, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to get your input on it. Alabama is going to play Ohio State in the national championship.
I think you're right.
I think C.J. Stroud is going to win the Heisman, but Alabama's going to beat him in the national championship game. But it's just hard for me, Conan. I'm a defensive guy. If I'm anything, I'm defensive. Maybe sometimes offensive, but I'm also mainly
you're
defensive.
Offensive.
I just don't believe they're going to give it to a defensive player. If Dominican Sue didn't win it, if Will Anderson didn't even get invited, Aiden Hutchinson, the guy they invited, finished second. And look, I know you're a quarterback.
Charles Woodson won it.
Okay, yeah.
Need more. That's going to get to my point, though. Like it has to be something more.
Special teams.
Well, then Honey Badger
some
offense.
Honey
Badger win it.
That's a great question. He was an absolute.
But again, like who won it that year? Like you have to compare who.
True though. But again, like last year would have been, and not that Bryce didn't deserve it. Bryce deserved it. He's obviously in the running, the leader for it this year, trying to win it twice. But it wasn't like, and like you said, it wasn't like it was some elite year that Bryce had that was just absolutely
he's pretty good,
shattering. He was really good. But what Will Anderson did, I feel like it was harder to do what Will Anderson did than what Bryce Young did. That's just my opinion.
I don't think you're wrong.
Will Anderson was getting double teamed more than the lobster buffet at Golden Corral on special on a Saturday.
I mean, what's harder to play, defense or offense? Defense.
Of course it is. You say that again to the camera.
You're reacting. You're reacting. I'll say that. Defense is harder to play than offense.
I can't believe you said that.
Cornerback's the hardest position in football.
I knew you'd see it my way.
Cornerback's the hardest position in football. You're reacting. That's what you're doing. You have no idea.
I love that.
You have no idea what's going to happen in front of you. I'm a receiver. I know what I'm doing.
There's three things.
I know exactly what I'm doing, what I need to do. If you're a defense guy, you are guessing. You're somewhat before that play starts, you are guessing. But no defensive player will win the Heisman probably for the next 10 years unless they Shohei this thing. They need to play offense too somewhat and defense. That's the only way. That's the only way. To me, you want a sleeper for the Heisman? You want a sleeper for the Heisman? It's one person. It's Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers.
It's Brock Bowers.
Look, I think you can make the argument that Brock Bowers is maybe the best player in the country.
He was a good player.
He's really good.
That tight end room is basically like a scene from Transformers. I mean, you got Darnell Washington, you got Arik Gilbert, who if he can just not freak out off the field, is going to be really, really good. And Brock Bowers is better than both of them. I'm telling you right now, Brock Bowers is better than Eric Gilbert. Mm-hmm. He's better than Darnell Washington. Now, I know Darnell Washington was a tackle that they moved to tight end who can actually move and catches the ball away from his body with his hands. He's a hell of a player. But to me, when I look at it, again, I'm just trying to get over you saying that. I'm so glad you agree with me.
Yeah.
I don't think you're crazy saying Brock Bowers may be the best player in the country.
If he's not the best, he's top 5 for sure.
Mm-hmm. The fact that kid was a freshman last year really makes me question a lot of things I thought I knew in my life.
What were you doing in high school?
You played like a
kids.
Yeah.
What were you doing to
everything?
You were a freshman and doing that to grown men in college.
Yeah.
What were you doing in high school?
Let's not act either like he said, like Brock was doing it against children. Like he wouldn't go into read some books to a class and was out there running them over. He was doing this against Bama.
He's huge and can fly.
Yeah. Again, that dude, he may be the highest drafted tight end ever. I want to see who the highest drafted tight end. In the comments below, tell us who the highest drafted tight end. I wonder. That's a great question. You think it's Shannon Sharp? I wonder where Shannon went.
That'd be tough.
I feel like Shannon went late though. Anyway, but it's a great.
Patrick Willis may be joining too. I just heard.
Yes.
Stopping by.
P. Will. That'd be great. I do want to say, you speaking of Shohei yesterday. Mm-hmm. We actually had, you know me, baseball guy, a real legitimate baseball fight in Major League Baseball. Not the, hey, hold me back, bro, or I'm going to go out there and look at you really mad, and you're going to look at me really mad, and we're going to make everybody think we're going to fight, but we're really not going to do anything. Jesse Winker yesterday got hit, okay?
This was Mariners-Angels.
Mariners-Angels.
Yeah.
And he got hit on purpose. It was obvious to tell he got hit on purpose. Now, he didn't throw at your head. He hit you right here in the hip. You know, a lot of times you get hit there, you take your medicine, you go down. But Phil Nevin, the manager who took over for Madden, said something. And when Winker saw him or heard him, even the umpire tried to stop him because I think the umpire heard what he said. So when the umpire heard him Nevin say that to Winker, he grabs Winker and Winker just tosses him off him like he is a child, like he was going against Brock Bowers, and goes to fight basically the whole team. It was Jesse Winker was going to fight all of the Angels, which I don't know what part of the Bible that's in.
The outfield.
Yeah, you want to talk about angels in the outfield. How about angels all over the field? But there were actual punches thrown, which, you know, again, am I condoning violence? No. Do I like sometimes when in baseball they actually do fight instead of looking really soft with the way it goes down because somebody did throw at your head or hit you intentionally? That is something you are ready to fight somebody over.
There were 8 ejections too.
8?
Yep.
8. There's more ejections in that game than Top Gun Maverick.
Were there?
Yeah, there was like at least 6.
I haven't seen it yet either.
I'm going to see it, though.
Heard it's good.
Did I
see it in
spoiler you
theater.
guys right there?
No.
Wait, you guys haven't seen Top Gun Maverick?
No, not yet.
I don't want to dive into that. But Cone, what were your thoughts on the fight?
Well, I got to watch it this morning. Actually, I missed it live yesterday, and I just thought, I was thinking about like just an old school brawl. I mean, I saw the hit; it clearly looked intentional. I didn't see what led up to that, though. Was there a home run celebration?
Nah,
or was there?
I think there'd been some bad blood for a while.
I just want to know what was said.
To me, I wasn't even that interested in like the build up to it or the background of it. I was just shocked by watching that video when he went over there and he's kind of jogging over there. I'm like, all right, him and this guy are going to bump up and everybody's going to hold everybody back. No.
Well, he didn't go after the pitcher, which was interesting.
Well, he knew that, again, when you try to hit somebody, most of the time it is coming from the dugout.
Oh, you think so?
Yes, because, again, that catcher is you're an employee. I'm not going to put a guy on first base just because I want to put a guy on first base. So that is called from the dugout. So in reality, if you're a hitter that gets hit by a pitch, it's not really the pitcher's fault.
Really?
It's the person in the dugout's fault that told the pitcher to take that ball with those seams on it and throw it and hit a human being.
Sometimes the pitchers just do it right after a celebration, though.
Well,
or do they have to get sanctioned? Is it like a mob?
Well, you got to know the
situation.
If it was a home run to tie the game and there's no outs, you're not going to hit the next guy because he celebrated. Like when Jose Bautista hit that home run in the playoffs for the Blue Jays, that 3-run jack to put him up, and he celebrated. I mean, he stopped at an Airbnb at every base. He took so long to celebrate, going around there, tossing the bat and stuff like that. But they didn't hit the next guy because they're down now.
Yeah, there's a time and a place.
Look, if it's 9-0, that's the worst time to be on deck. Is when you're up 8-0 or you're up or 9-0 or you're down 9-1 and a guy hits a homer and just pimps it and pisses everybody off. Because guess what? Game's not on the line, but your life might be. So it just depends on the situation. I love the unwritten rules of baseball. A lot of people don't love the unwritten rules of baseball for some reason, and I feel like those people should be written off. Put that on a pillow.
I'm still advocating for maybe a 45-second clock, a 30-second clock. Let them fight.
You really want
let them fight.
Like hockey?
Like hockey.
You
let
really
them fight.
want
You want to fight, then fight. Same thing. I go for this in baseball, and the same thing for football. You get 30 seconds. You have to maybe sit an inning.
So what if somebody tries to fight Shohei Ohtani? What if they got the worst player? They called up some dude.
How about this?
From single A,
like
who's like the
you
challenge.
You can challenge them to a duel.
You have bruises.
They can accept or decline.
Bash Brothers.
They can accept or decline. Decline, you don't fight, but you let them fight.
Do you know how long a baseball game is?
Yeah,
You know
what's
how long
adding
the
15
baseball
minutes at
season
this
is?
point? What's adding?
It's a lot.
minutes.
What's
What's
adding
adding
15 minutes? I
15
could be headed back to the crib.
Are you watching 162 games?
I don't know. Are you?
No. If
Well,
they're
I'm-
fighting, maybe.
Oh, God.
Maybe.
Why wouldn't
You might too. I think you might too. I know David would.
Why wouldn't you just have like a day then during the season? Like instead of everybody playing on Wednesday, it's like, listen, Monday you hit Winker. He's pissed.
Look.
He wants to fight one of y'all. He wants to fight the coach, but the coach is too old.
Yeah. So you get 2 chances, maybe 2 to 3 chances, like in the 3rd inning or the 7th inning. That's when you can offer a duel, and if they accept, you fight.
So wait, 7th inning stretch?
The 7th inning stretch.
7th inning duel.
7th inning duel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Just like the XFL and the USFL, I feel like you should buy a professional baseball league.
Yeah.
And try these ideas out.
Well,
Put a
you give
deposit
me
down.
like $100 million.
You need
we'll
100
figure it
mil?
out. We'll figure
You
it
get
out.
$100 million to buy a team.
You want to talk about selling
I feel like
tickets?
you're so
You want to talk about
charismatic
selling
and you're a good
tickets?
talker, you're good with your words. You can figure it out.
Look,
You'll
we're
get
talking about
it.
selling tickets, getting eyes on the screen. Yeah. What do you mean? Vladdy Guerrero Jr. fighting Miguel
Fernando
Cabrera?
Tatis.
Again, the stars, I don't think are going to fight. It's going to
No.
be the bruisers on the team protecting guys.
don't
You
think so.
know who needs to be fighting?
think-
the Kyle
I think-
Schwarbers.
Yeah.
That's who needs to be
Kyle
fighting.
Schwarber.
Anthony
You are
Rizzo.
out of
Anthony Rizzo versus Kyle Schwarber. You wouldn't watch that fight, David? Because I would.
I'm not saying I wouldn't watch
Bartolo
it.
Popcorn.
Colon.
Pay-per-view
Bartolo
style.
Colon
I
is
mean,
the
come on.
second most fattest out of shape guy in Major League
Make baseball great again.
Hey, you know what? While we're on MLB, though, I had a question for you guys because Freddie Freeman returned
Yes.
to Atlanta for the first time.
Yes.
Very emotional this weekend. The Dodgers won that series 2-1, but I wanted to know, do you think this will be a postseason rematch?
Listen, it's gonna happen.
You think so?
We're in the Matrix. Of course it's gonna happen. I mean, it's already written. This is written on some sort of tablet buried somewhere where Mesopotamia is or something like that. Like, well, they'll unearth it 300 years from now. But I do want to say I've gone back and forth because again, I'm a Braves fan. I mean, we're all a fan of somebody. I've gone back and forth with the Freddie Freeman situation. Like, how do I feel about it? Because having been in a sports business, I realize the business aspect of it, of contract negotiations and making decisions. And you have a family and you're trying to put them in the best situation possible and you're from California. But I'll be honest, guys, I really almost wanted to boo Freddie Freeman if I was there the first at bat, but I couldn't after the press conference because it looks to me like Freddie regrets it. It looks at you, and again, I know there's a lot of emotion. It's one thing to be nostalgic and coming back and you know, the sad and happy mix. That man looked like he made the biggest mistake ever. He couldn't walk in the media room without crying, like breaking down crying. And it wasn't a, excuse me, give me 1 second, you know, that's my quarterback, you know, it was a like, like you got to call the crisis hotline. Like it was legitimately, you could tell he felt it. And you know what? Part of me felt really, really bad for him.
I'm glad that they didn't boo him.
I'm glad that
Atlanta wasn't going to.
It did look like he regretted it, very emotional. But then I think he wiped his tears with a crisp Ben Franklin, crawled into 10,000 thread count, Egyptian cotton
I don't know if he regrets it.
And then here's how it's going to end. Here's how it's going to work out, Blain. Yeah. Here's how it's going to work out. Okay. Braves, Dodgers, postseason. Matt Olson walks it off. Walks it off. That's how. Hey, I love that. Ain't no guess, Blain. That's what it's going to be.
It ain't no guess.
Really?
That's what it's going to be.
You think so? Matt Olson. What if Freddie walks it off?
Huh? You're talking about a whole different scenario.
Yeah. Like
what if Freddie walks it off?
What are you trying to do? What are the Yankees going to do?
I mean, hey,
Judge walked it off again.
You split with the Astros.
Judge walked it off again last night, I think.
He did. 3-run homer in the bottom of the 10th.
Yeah, he walked it off and then hit a home run right before our
You hate to see it.
Yeah, you love to see it, but also
Blain.
yeah, hate to see it. But no, again, I think the storyline is going to be really interesting to watch. I'm just, again, you're seeing the Braves do what? They're starting to catch who? The Mets. And you're starting to see the Mets do what? Like they always do. And now you look in Philly, Bryce Harper done for the season.
Broke his thumb. I believe he's broke his thumb. He's done.
Bryce Harper's done?
Yeah, he's done. He's going to be done for the rest of the year. You know, I mean, now you look at, I go back to the Freddie, first of all, let me give kudos to the Braves fans.
Yeah.
Now, you don't see that a lot.
No.
That guy get that type
Especially
of welcoming in a pro sport. Yeah. You don't see that a lot. And when he kind of went to almost a rival team, somewhat in the Dodgers. That's to tell you how much Freddie mattered to the organization. And I still think if you are in management at the Braves, Freddie Freeman better retire a Brave.
He will.
He better retire a Brave.
I think this cemented it, and two, adding that they won the World Series in his last year.
Exactly.
You're going to see him retire a Brave. It'll be a big thing. Again, I just, as a human being watching another human being and understanding emotions, it really looked to me like Freddie was sick to his stomach like he was in Atlanta. And I'm not saying he's not, enjoying his time with the Dodgers. It's a great organization. They've got all the resources. They've got tremendous talent. He knows that. He had to play against it. But there's something about being the guy. There's something about when you think of the Atlanta Braves before Freddie left, who do you think of? Even with Ronald Acuna Jr., I think of Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman is the consummate Atlanta Brave.
And the torch got passed from Chipper Jones so smoothly. That was the thing, because Chipper was the guy, and then Freddie was able to carry that torch.
And he was a California kid that came to the South, and they embraced him. Chipper, not a California kid.
No, he was from Florida.
Like typically, you look at the Braves, and you got good old boys, and they really welcomed him in. And I thought, it was a really poignant, beautiful moment when they gave him standing ovations at his first at bat every game. And I think it speaks louder, like you said, Blain, about Braves fans, Braves country, and the chop-on lifestyle, in general of, how well they treat their players. And that's why Atlanta is a destination that players want to go to.
And I think if you're a Braves fan and you hated to see Freddie Freeman leave, the time to criticize is not now, because you have to put trust in Alex Anthopoulos. I mean, you're the defending World Series champions, right? So you have to see how this plays out. If he wins another World Series here with as the Braves GM, that's going to change a lot of people's opinion on whether or not, letting Freddie go was the right move.
Good. I got to trust Alex. I mean, I got to trust Alex. All you've done is lead us right. Ronald Acuna Jr. goes down last year. Everybody panics. You made every right move. So, again, I trust you. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And I think Alex is going to continue to pay off for the Braves as well. But if you want to watch or listen to the rest of the show, head over to thedailywire.com now, become a member, listen on Apple, Spotify, any place you get your podcasts. We're going to be right back with some great guests. We're out here at the Senior Bowl Celebrity Charity Classic. I'm getting ready to play. And I woke up this morning, I chose violence. I'm going to get my Tiger Woods on. Old Tiger, not new Tiger. Legs feeling great. We'll be right back. All right, very excited to be joined by new Dallas Cowboy, former, well, you're always a Jag when you look at South Alabama, as my alma mater as well, Jalen Tolbert. Number one, man, I appreciate you joining us.
Yep.
And number two, congrats on making it, man. You a Cowboy now, how does it feel?
It's definitely a blessing, and just being able to get up there and get to work with everybody, Dak, CD, MG, all those guys, Zeke, they're very welcoming, and, they're teaching me the ways of, the Cowboy culture, so I'm enjoying it.
So when you got the call, when you knew you were going to get taken to the Cowboys, because again, it's one thing to get drafted in general, but it's kind of like getting drafted by the Yankees a little bit in baseball. It's one of the biggest brands, not only in football, but in the world. I mean, again, you being a part of that structure, a part of those resources, I mean, you really couldn't ask for a better home, could you?
Yeah, no, it's definitely special. It's a special place, special people around there. And I mean, when I saw, the call lit up, it said the Star, and I was like, dang, like, it's happening.
Here we go. Well, man, I'm really excited for you. What are some areas, Jalen, because again, you're always improving. The minute you stop, the minute you start getting worse. You got CD Lamb there as well on the other side. I mean, Gallup, a bunch of guys out there that can make plays. How excited are you to be able to go out there and improve on a couple things and really make the jump?
Yeah, I know, I definitely have an opportunity early on with MG still being, injured. So I think, the biggest thing for me is just being able to play off of CD and play with speed. CD is obviously going to be wide receiver number one for the most part. And so, whatever I can do to help him out, help the team out, I'm going to do it. And so, if I have to run bubble screens the whole time, I'm going to do it. So it's definitely fun. And, just being able to learn from them. They've played, for a couple years now, so they know the speed of the game, the speed of practice, how things should be. So I'm just continuing to pick up on the culture that they created down there.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw it to Conan in a second, but I do have to ask you. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made when you're drafted. A lot of stuff's changing. Have you decided on what your end zone celebration will be? And is that something you've even given a thought to?
I have not. I've been trying to get close to this.
There you go. I love it.
Well, look, the Cowboys are going to be a serious contender this season. Haven't been able to get over the hump the last few years, but y'all have so many weapons on offense. It's going to be fun to watch. Have you set any personal goals so far for this season, and how are you working towards those?
I think I have set them. It's just more so like, I got to reach one goal to get to the next one type.
Okay.
So, I want to first crack the starting position, be a starter for sure. It's a lot of talk here and there, and, I stay off of social media as much as possible.
You're smart.
You're lucky.
You're smart, man.
It's a lot of talk, so just being able to do that and then being able to go out and, make plays off of CD. First week we played Tom Brady, Tampa Bay. So
there you go.
We got to be ready to come out firing. And so just being able to get to that point and then, from there, overall I want to, try to obviously be Offensive Rookie of the Year.
There you go.
Just continue to grow, win a Super Bowl, get over the hump with those guys. So, as time goes on, I'll probably add more goals and just continue to hit landmarks.
One day at a time, right?
Yeah,
I want to talk to you about the Sun Belt. You went to South Alabama just like our boy Jake here. I'm from Statesboro.
It's the Fun Belt, Cone.
Hey,
You know it.
I'm from Statesboro, okay? Georgia Southern, that runs through my blood. I watched them win a lot of championships growing up. Well, how do you feel about the Sun Belt Conference right now? Because they're doing some great stuff in football.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an up-and-coming conference. And it was fun, honestly, playing in it just because you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I feel like, we play a big game. So I played Tennessee last year, and then I also played the Coastal Carolinas. And,
App State.
App State. And then you also play some teams that, have a Troy rivalry is special for South Alabama. So just being able to have all three of those and still be able to stay home and play was definitely fun.
It's becoming a conference where every week is a challenge, and then you throw in a couple of the big Power Fives or the big SEC schools that you get to play. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, no, for sure. You're definitely betting on yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. New team, you get drafted, new quarterback. How's the chemistry with you and Dak been so far on the field?
It's been pretty good. Like I said, Dak has open arms and welcoming me in. Teaching me the things that I need to know, splits, play-wise, and, any question I have, I'm able to go up to him and ask him. It's not like, come on, get in the playbook. You're supposed to know this. Like, he's open to telling me, and, hey, you're going to see this, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely special being able to have a quarterback like that. And, we talk and, every day after practice about something that went on, and I've caught a lot of passes from him so far, so I'm looking forward to growing on it.
Yeah, what's the biggest difference you think right now? And I know you haven't played in an NFL game yet, but is it speed from college to NFL? What do you see the biggest separation is?
I think definitely speed and I say like your football smarts because I mean like everything in the NFL is off of like splits. Like you're on the inside edge, out +2, +4, and like if you're not pinpoint where you need to be at, then you're gonna mess the play up. And then I mean DBs know like Trayvon Diggs is very smart. He understands when I stem in from an inside edge split, I'm probably gonna run a 7 route. So like.
Little things are a lot bigger in the NFL.
It ain't easy. Like in college, you just line up and just do something, and now you open and just make it happen. But in the NFL, you got to be ready, and then you come from the huddle, so it ain't like, you sitting there and can move around. Like you run out once you put your feet down, like the play about to start.
Yeah, it's time to go.
Huddle, a word that's disappearing quicker in football than the word fullback. But again, it's all cyclical.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
But look, you know me, I'm old school, man. But Jalen, I do want to ask you, kind of last question. Coming full circle a little bit. You stay home, you play at South, ball there, go to the Senior Bowl, do well, get drafted to the Cowboys. Now you're here at the Classic, getting ready to, really go get into the season. Yeah. Just in general, man, how you feel? I mean, life's great.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely blessed, and I can't thank God enough for everything that He's presented me with, every opportunity, and everyone that He will. So, I look forward to being able to capture those moments and just go day by day, live it out.
Definitely, man. Well, I'm going to be watching you. We're going to be rooting you on, man. I appreciate you taking some time.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Coming on with us. Good luck. Opposite of CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to tell you, my man's going to reach the end zone. There ain't getting close to it. He's humble. He's going to reach the end zone. But we really, really do appreciate you joining.
Appreciate you. Yep.
All right, excited to bring on the big boss, the executive director of the Reese Senior Bowl. They put on unbelievable events, including this one right now, Mr. Jim Nagy. Jim, what's up, man?
Good to see you.
It's so good to see you.
Welcome back down to Mobile.
I know, it's been a while.
This is like your turf, man.
I know it is. The smells smell the same, sights. Some new buildings, some new places. Blain went back to his old high school, Spanish Fort. Some new buildings over there as well.
Spanish Fort High School?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. Hey, just added it.
Yeah, it's a tour up.
Hey, it must have been nice. I wish I could have had all that new stuff they got up there. It's pretty nice.
Well, y'all had some pretty nice stuff too. We'll taking it up like the walls were plexiglass.
I mean, 5 rings. I get it.
Yeah. Okay, Frodo. Anyways,
I'm taller than you.
Jim, talk about the rings. About the rings. Connect the bouncing dots or connect
balls.
The balls.
You got this.
Yeah, for sure. Jim, I do got to ask you, putting on the Senior Bowl when you have these young guys coming into play, you're watching them. You guys do an unbelievable job scouting. Then when you have the ceremonies, the inductions, I mean, it's got to be kind of a feeling, not of vindication, but just excitement of being able to bring these guys back and celebrate what they did and how it affected their career.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, I mean, this has been my life's work, is to go out and at least try to find greatness, right? There's going to be a lot of greatness in this room tonight. Yeah. Not just with our inductees. I think we have 10 former Senior Bowl Hall of Famers coming back tonight. So yeah, it's a big night, man. I mean, these guys earned it. It's so cool that they wanted to come back to Mobile and kind of celebrate where it all started.
Yeah, and I think it shows you how much respect they have for the Senior Bowl and you guys to be able to come back and take some time out there. But, me and you, the last time I had you on, it was a lot of fun to talk about the scouting that you guys do and really the work that goes in to be able to try and get the best players possible up here to show off in front of NFL GMs, scouts, coaches, and stuff. Can you just tell our audience maybe that hadn't heard how in-depth you guys scouting is?
Yeah, I mean, we try to do it just like the NFL teams do, as best we can on the budget that we have. We've tried to build a scouting department very similar. So the one thing we do every year, like through that whole hiring, firing cycle, when that all takes place, we get guys that have been let go for the year that have experience. I say guys, we had a gal a couple years ago too. She's scouting for the Browns now.
There you go.
But like last year, we had 7 scouts with 120 years of experience in the league, and so we, spread around the country. We're at games every Saturday. Obviously, don't have the budget to be in a school every day, but we're out on campus every Saturday or Thursday night, or in the Midwest in Maction, we're at Bowling Green on a Tuesday or whatever. And then we're watching tape all week. We just download tape from the same place the NFL does, the teams do, and then our last part of our process is just reaching out to guys that I've been in the league with. Most of the guys I came in the league with are director level, GM level now. So get those guys on the horn, kind of go over our board and where we have players ranked, and the key is getting the guys they want to see, right?
Yep.
Like the rosters aren't for us, it's for them. So just kind of vet what we see the roster as, and then make the changes accordingly based off their feedback, and and that's kind of how it all comes together.
You guys got the algorithm figured out. Y'all do a pretty damn good job of getting good players up here.
I mean, the Senior Bowl helps make careers. That is incredible, and you hear it from a lot of these guys who are even here this weekend. Talk to us about how it feels to watch these guys go to the NFL after having gone through the Senior Bowl and watch them have the success they do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. People ask if I miss working in the NFL, and I do. Draft weekend. I mean, there's always, you miss kind of that camaraderie.
Vontae Mack, no matter what.
That's right. But no, I really enjoy draft weekend's fun because we had 106 guys drafted this year. So to sit back and then, having a personal connection with the players, knowing that they're realizing their dreams and all the work that goes into being even just a college player, let alone making the NFL. And then sitting back on Sundays and seeing those guys have success is it's awesome. It's because of them, man. You know how happy they are. You know how happy they're making their families. And you'll hear some great stories in here tonight. I mean, there's going to be some really good ones. I've already connected on a couple guys. Von Miller's got a great story about why he came to the Senior Bowl and what his week was like. So it's always great stuff.
All right, the most important question I have to ask.
Here we go. I know what this is about.
Waiting on this one.
How's Michigan football going to be this season?
Well, you know what? I feel better going into this year than I did last year, and they ended up in the playoffs.
There you go. So we're winning it all, is what you're saying.
Yeah, if we take just that one step.
Y'all can all come together, and y'all can just keep hoping.
You got the Chargers winning the Super Bowl, so we're going to have Michigan win the national championship.
And that was because Phillip Rivers was here.
Okay.
Hey, man, I'm not one of those delusional college fans that expects his team to be win a national championship every year. I mean, hey, 10-win season, go to January when I'm good. But last year going to the playoff, that was a pretty special year.
Beating Ohio State too was obviously big for the village.
Tell us about it.
I just don't know if anybody's getting through Bama this year. I just don't know.
Well, it's another year, so it's
the best player on offense and defense.
I don't know. I've been thinking about it lately.
Maybe.
But
definitely on defense for sure.
But Jim, last question for I know you're a busy man all night like tonight. The outreach that you guys do in the community, especially here in Mobile. I went to South Alabama. Like you said, Blain went to school down here. It seems like such a great fit with the city of Mobile and the Senior Bowl and Reese's as well. Can you just talk about how important the city of Mobile's been? And really how important y'all been for both each other?
Yeah, and that's why the draft starts in Mobile. The city's really important to our game. The game's kind of part of the fabric of the city. We did an economic impact study in 2015, so it's a dated study that was 7 years ago. And the Senior Bowl brought $32 million to the city of Mobile. So, I mean, that number is probably well north of that figure. And we take that really, seriously. That's a big responsibility to the city. That's what makes our game different from the other. And there's other really good all-star games. But what makes ours different, we've been here forever. And it's just a part of our city. And again, like tomorrow we have the golf event, which you guys will be at. We'll be swinging them across the street. And we're going to present a check to some underprivileged local public high schools for $65,000 for those guys. I think there's 13 high schools down here earmarked for $5,000 a piece. And so they can go out, equipment needs, whether it's like blocking sleds or shoulder pads or pants or what have you. I know one school's buying a trailer, another school's buying video technology. But anything we can do to support that level. And then to bring it full circle, the city of Mobile had 6 players drafted this year in the first 126 picks. Not like the entire draft, through the beginning of the 4th round, we had 6 guys go, which, I mean, if you took Houston or Atlanta or Miami, some other hotbed cities, I mean, what that number would have to be just to be per capita what Mobile is. Crazy. Atlanta would have to have 80 players drafted, so it's football's huge down here. The Senior Bowl in the city really, really connected, and it's a special bond.
Yeah. Well, Jim, we always love coming down to these events. Love talking to you. Appreciate you having us. And
thanks for coming.
Continued success, man. What you've done with the Senior Bowl, it's been absolutely unbelievable, and I know it's going to only improve, which is hard to do on what you guys have done in the past.
Thanks, man.
It's always great to see you. Yeah. And swing them straight tomorrow, because I'm not. I can go ahead and tell you.
I'm not even swinging them.
You're not swinging them?
I'm riding around in a car.
You're riding around.
I'm playing host, man. So
if you want to laugh, come I'll be playing as well.
Making sure you guys have plenty of Miller Lights all day.
You know what? That sounds great to me. You can sign me up for that. But no, brother, it's great to see you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right, just want to go ahead and thank everybody that got us down here, the Daily Wire, for letting us come down here. Obviously, I want to give a shout out to Jim Nagy, the executive producer, good friend of ours. The Senior Bowl, they do everything right. Everybody involved. Molly Middleton as well. I know.
Absolutely.
You want to throw there?
Virginia and Brinson Holder.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then Mr. Angus Cooper for sure.
Angus Cooper again hosting us. Blain.
I mean, all the former athletes and current athletes that let us interview him, we really appreciate it.
And our crew.
And our crew.
And our crew,
Yeah. We got the best
Yes.
crew. Addie, Justine, the whole crew, unbelievable job. Even our security guard, whose name I can't say on air, but we all know who he is and where he's at right now. But no, it's great stuff. I want to go ahead and give our picks for the Booster Club today.
Let's do it.
It's Monday now. We've hit a point in our lives during this year that really there's not a ton going on now that NHL's done, NBA's done, college baseball's done. So now I'm going to have to bet Major League Baseball or some sort of cricket or Quidditch or bingo night or
Wimbledon
something.
is on, but they're 6 hours in advance. So it's like, hey, you can take picks for the Booster Club, you know?
Not that I don't know about tennis, but like I don't know enough about it to bet on.
Yeah, you know it's a problem when I'm looking up WNBA over and unders. So it's a
well,
problem.
Are you going with that?
Are you
I looked at it. I think one was 166. It's an under all the way.
It's
no
an under
matter
all the
what
way.
the game. I'm taking
Overs
the
in
under.
the NBA, unders in the WNBA?
Not yet. I haven't taken it yet, but I looked at it hard today.
All right, so here's what I'm going to go with. Give me the Nationals, -1.5. Okay. Fetty's pitching tonight. I believe they're playing the Pirates. I do like the Nats at -1.5. That's +140. Then give me, and I hate to keep betting on them because they keep blowing it when I bet on them, but it doesn't really hurt me because I love when the Yankees lose. But I'm going to take the Yanks -1.5 today, which I think they're playing the A's.
Yes.
Who, they're a big favorite. I think they're -300 to win the game. I'm going to take them at -1.5. That's a -140, so it's +140 for the Nats, -140 for the Stanks.
Okay. Look, I'm going to go with the Cards Marlins. Nerfy, no runs in the first inning. Look, with Wainwright and Pablo Lopez on the mound, I say no runs first inning. Am I wrong? And then I want to go Rangers.
I was going to take the exact same bet.
No, you stay with the WNBA. All right,
Bud.
Rangers, first 5, -0.5 run at -110. Martin Perez on the mound is 5-2 this season with a 1.96 ERA going up against Chris Bubik with a 1.4 record and a 7.41 ERA. Take the first 5.
You can never guess the pitch when a guy named Martin's throwing. You can't.
So you don't like the Rangers?
No, I do.
Yes.
It's tough to hit against a guy named Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all right. They'll change of plans here.
Well,
okay?
you're changing it.
Well, yeah.
Don't change them up, man.
I'm not going to go the same bet. First run. I was going to literally go to under on the first run, but I am taking the Dodgers money line against the Rockies.
Okay.
-194. We'll see there. And let me get in here now. All right. Give me Nerfy in the Blue Jays Red Sox game.
Okay.
Under half runs.
Hey, Baby Cone's going to trail you on the Dodgers -0.5.
Okay.
There. And then Blue Jays -0.5 at -130.
There it is.
Well, let's see how we do, boys, on a Monday. Again, out here, it's been unbelievable. The Senior Bowl Charity Celebrity Golf Classic. Again, a great organization that's run by great people. That's why it's so successful, and it needs to stay in Mobile. So everybody is talking about moving the Senior Bowl somewhere else. It needs to stay in Mobile. The Senior Bowl is Mobile. Mobile is the Senior Bowl, and it needs to stay that way. We appreciate you, and like the chances of me hitting a hole-in-one the minute we stop this show, I'm going, gone.